Welcome you all. I am Baron Baptiste. Welcome to Disrupt the Drift. This is a place where we can tell the truth and where the truth can be told. I want to start out with a quote here from George Orwell. He says, "The further a society drifts from truth, the more it will hate people who speak it." Now, David, you said something earlier to me. You said that you don't always have to tell the truth. Tell me, what's your take on that?
So truthiness is a very interesting thing altogether, because if you think that if you tell the truth, then that makes you virtuous.
Yeah.
But at the same time, guess what? And I will ask you this question. Who told the first lie? The answer is found in Genesis 4. "Ye shall not surely die," said the serpent to Adam and Eve. So when you tell the truth, there's two possible outcomes.
What does that mean? Read that quote again. I didn't quite.
You shall not surely die. Genesis 4. In speaking to Eve about the forbidden fruit, the serpent lied about the fatal nature of consuming, but it wasn't even the fruit that was the problem. It was disobedience to God. God told them, don't eat the fruit, because in that moment you will surely die. And of course, there are many layers that we can examine about what that means. Death could be a death in a relationship. How many people have had a relationship that died because of something that happened, because of a problem that rose, or a lie that was told, or something? So there are a lot of ways of looking at it,
or the flip side, you stayed in a relationship, but you were disobedient to your own inner knowing.
Of course, exactly. Yeah. The reason why I said that to you is because if there is a demon or a devil or a dark side, if that exists, and it exists in other people,
it does,
then what they will try to get you to do is say something to them that you believe that they know they can use against you. And this is why you have to be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove.
Yeah. In society now, people are always oversharing. Oh, it's this whole thing on social media, oversharing. I'm saying oversharing, but they're sharing everything about their lives, how they're not authentic or how they are authentic, but all that oversharing, and you do that in your life, not wise. You open yourself up to forces. But yeah, keep going.
Okay, my point is that, you see, telling the truth is, if you live in the truth, first of all, which most of us don't really, we live between a comfort zone of self-delusion. We delude ourselves, we deceive ourselves into believing things that we want to believe. It's called confirmation bias. We believe whatever we want to believe, and then we find reasons to validate what we want to believe. But the other side of that is that there's a hunger that exists in every human being for the truth, to live in the truth and from the truth. And so we have split personalities, basically, right down the middle. And so if we look at the source, the original source of lies, because if you think about it, lies are like a pinball. And once you pull back the lever and you let the pinball go, it's just going to go where it goes. It can go anywhere. And the pinball in our life, the lies that we either are told by other people that cause us to go a certain direction and have beliefs about things. I could just tell you one. I believe that the climate crisis is a lie. And it's actually been proven now. More and more people are coming around and saying, look, human-caused global warming, it's not really the problem, because there's this thing called the polar vortex, and every 15,000 years or so, there's an ice age, and the planet warms and cools, and it's natural causes that are causing this to happen, not humans. You could put all the carbon that we have on Earth in the atmosphere, and it wouldn't necessarily change anything. And this is what they've discovered, by the way. But you see,
and what I see in that too, it's like how it's being used politically and for powers that be, to get people to conform, and to suppress,
make
and
them feel
a way of
for being a part of the
guilty
problem.
And be because can humans Is our soil poisoned? Is our water poisoned? Are there things that we have influence over? Yes. But when it starts getting politicized into something, it doesn't smell right. There's some bigger agenda that the powers that be, and then the lying mainstream media jumps. It's like propaganda. You just smell it. Something doesn't measure up.
And by the
right?
way, yeah.
But that's like at the macro level. But then at the more personal level, what's true? But go ahead, keep going.
Here's the thing.
I want to hear your thought process here.
You and I are both outdoorsmen. We love nature. I don't want to see our beautiful world destroyed by people, because people can be terribly destructive.
Oh yeah.
Nuclear war, that would be the end of it all, right? It would it would destroy our world. And so, infighting and warlike thinking that's the existential threat of people. And those people have a tendency to be the biggest liars of all. And that those lies create exponential problems to get people to go against each other. And if we would all stand back, and if we were all really like environmentally conscious and just being aware of not becoming involved in the problem, but being a part of the solution.
Clean.
Keep things clean. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
But we are pit against each other by these dark forces. And we're
living in a sea of lies.
Right.
It's everywhere.
And here's what Genesis 4 says: the old serpent, that devil called elsewhere the father of lies. There's a dark side to lies that takes on lives. These lies take on lives of their own. They start to mold and shape our futures, each one of us. So if we believe one lie, let's just say the idea that if somebody came along and said, you know what? That's not your real dad. I had that thought when I was a kid. It's like, how could that be my real dad? There was something whispering into my mind. How could that guy be your dad? If you believe that, what does that do to your head?
Yeah.
So I saw that as that's a deception. Something is trying to deceive me. Something is trying to get me to resent my own father. And how many people have had that experience? It may not be that idea.
You have the wrong person. You have people in your life that whisper into your ear about your husband, your wife, your boss, and if you're deceiving yourself, and people deceive themselves all of the time, just know others are deceiving themselves. It's is it Don Miguel Ruiz?
Mm-hmm.
Remember years ago, I think the book is The Four Agreements.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about something about people are deceiving themselves all of the time. And if you're and there's a liar in the head, if you're believing the liar in your own head, then just know that others are believing the liar in their own head, and they're deceiving themselves and they're deceiving others. So just know, I'm paraphrasing, but this is what it's like. People are lying all the time. They're lying to themselves and they're lying to you. Why wouldn't they? They're coming from a world of lies, beginning with the liar in the head. Yeah. Go ahead.
You just have to understand that just being truthful isn't the answer. It's not being deceived. Because in this world, we have innumerable deceptions being thrown at us all the time. And in our last conversation, I said about meditation and about suppressed emotions, allow for the truth, whatever it may be, to come to the surface. And much of the truth that we will see about our lives is that we've been deceived by one thing or another. And so the idea that we have these constant barrage of half-truths, and the media calls it disinformation, but you are responsible for discerning the difference between what is really so and what is not. Now, that's not always easy, right? It isn't easy because we are inclined to believe what we want to believe. And that's what I'm talking about, confirmation bias. The ego always wants to believe what is very convenient for the ego. So whether it's somebody's doing something to you that you don't like, or if you're have a justification for doing something to somebody that you don't like. See, you have to get really clear about who you want to be as opposed to who you don't want to be. And this is the binary choice between living a meaningful and happy life or kind of being a miserable person for all the wrong reasons. The right reasons to do the right thing are very different than half right reasons for doing the right thing. And the same thing, the flip side is true for doing the wrong thing. If you're compelled to do the wrong thing, and again, in my current position, I see so many people that they wear their beliefs like a suit of clothes, and many of them are very unhealthy, and their lifestyles are worn on their sleeve. And you can literally see a trajectory for these people because of the way that they believe that they have the right to live. And eventually, the truth catches up to everybody. And this is the other side of this equation, is that if you've lived your life around a deception, a lie, it will eventually come to the surface. It will eventually become very evident. And the longer it takes for the truth of your life to become evident, the harder it is to correct course. And so in this,
it's easier to see in others, right?
It's really easy to see in others.
We've all had the experience of being lied to, and then you're going along trusting someone who, I was just watching this, I think it was on Hulu, it's called The Perfect Wife. And it's about that, what was the woman's Papini? I forget her first name. But she was that wife who was abducted. Everyone thought she was abducted. And she was abducted for 3 weeks or so. Yeah. And then while she's abducted, she gets released. She gets dropped off on the side of a highway, and she's battered. Her face is battered. She was branded on her back. She's got bruises all over her body. She was tied up at her ankles and like really awful. And so it fulfilled on the story that she was abducted and tortured. And then this went on for 4 or 5 years. And then the FBI started really digging deeper, and they found DNA to some man that she was with, but she was saying it was these 2 Mexican women that stole her, abducted her, and tortured her. Her story started not matching up. They found the DNA, and it was connected to an ex-boyfriend. Anyhow, the whole lie, and her husband and 2 kids, the whole time, the husband was standing by her side, supporting her, wanting to help her figure out what happened to her, find the people who abducted her. This went on for 5 years. FBI gets to the bottom of it, and they found the evidence that could not be disproved. It was an ex-boyfriend. She ran off with her ex-boyfriend for 3 weeks, made up this whole story. And the point here is the husband was just blown away in how he had been living inside of this whole lie, this deception. Yeah. Right. We've all had our own kind of situations or experiences of that in our lives where you wake up and then all of a sudden, when you wake up, it's easier to see when you deceive others or others have deceived you. But when it's not so easy is to see, well, where are you being deceiving? Where are you deceiving others? And in what ways? But
believing a lie, and this is really interesting too, because when you believe a lie completely, it becomes your truth. And so
it becomes a truth with a lowercase t on it. Well, but you live it like it's true.
It becomes a full uppercase truth because you buy deeply into what the person is saying. They give you all the reasons to buy completely into this lie that they've made up.
Yeah. You justify it and you keep propping it up.
But it's not necessarily your fault.
You've built scaffolding around this deception, and it's become such a truth that all you know is how to keep it propped up.
The other thing is this.
And it's not like a lie in the background. It lives for the person as truth.
Yeah.
Because you've been living it a lie for so long.
I remember hearing about this case that you just described. It's a perfect case because her deception capacity was so great that she was willing to do all these things to herself to create this appearance that was so believable. And see, this is the danger.
To her family, to her siblings, to her community. Everyone was bought into it, and she kept propping it up. And then she was traumatized by the whole experience. So she's living out her trauma. Like, the whole thing just keeps getting bolstered up, but it's an illusion, not real.
So this is the thing that we don't, and this is a danger. We cannot judge ourselves for believing lies if we didn't know better. And so some lies are so perfectly believable. Many lies are perfectly believable. And then when we find the truth, and just as what the scripture says, know the truth and it shall make you free. But that freedom can be so painful because a whole life can be constructed out of believing a perfectly believable lie, or many of them. And the worst thing you can do is beat yourself up over it. You don't want to do that ever. You want to say, oh my gosh, I was deceived.
You want to wake up.
You want to grapple with that deception. You want to feel the pain of it. You have to come to terms with the pain of it and then allow it to slip away. At a certain point, you can grieve over the time. Listen, many people spend entire lifetimes believing a lie. And so that's a whole lifetime that's consumed by a lie.
Well, yeah. And what people aren't present to when you're living in a lie is you are in hiding. The real you, the authentic you, the truth is you're hiding. And people smell that. And you smell that. You don't, when you're hiding, even if you're totally checked out to it, you're not aware, you're living a lie or living in lies, you don't realize the impact it has on you. It costs you. It costs you your freedom. It costs you love. It costs you real connection. People don't really ever get to know you, and you don't really ever get to know anyone else because there's a hiding in the background. I was recently leading one of my leadership trainings, and there was a woman who, she stood up at the mic and she was sharing that, because I posed the question is, where are you being not real in your life? Where are you, hiding or covering up or pretending? And she's, no, I'm honest with everyone in my life. I'm always being honest. I'm honest, just telling everybody honestly how I'm feeling, telling them honestly what I think about something. I'm like honest everywhere. And I said, but you could see in this person's body, you could just see a body of resentment, a body of fear, anger. It's like when you just get present with people, you get a sense of where they're at. You get a sense of their energy, what's really there. And I said, okay, you're honest. That's one thing. You go around telling everyone how you feel and what you think, and okay, got that. But now we're not talking about honesty. We're talking about, where are you not being truthful? Like really truth. And I just asked, who in your life do you just pretend and go along with? And she's, my dad. She said, my dad's a jerk. He's nasty. He's, and I said, are you just honest with him? And she's, yeah, I've been honest with him about that. And I said, okay. I said, but what's underneath? Who have you been? Who are you being that's not said? The unsaid. Who are you being in that? So you resent your dad. So are you nasty toward your dad, even without trying to hide it? Are you being nasty? Are you being puny? She's, yeah, I don't let him see my kids, his grandkids. I don't, and I said, oh, so you're punishing your dad? She pauses and she's, yeah, I'm punishing him. He's been nasty. He was nasty to me growing up. He was nasty toward my mom. And I said, okay, so let's just look. So you're being inauthentic about being inauthentic. You're not being real about the real stuff. No, I'm being nasty. I'm being resentful. I'm being punitive. I'm being all these things, and all that's in the background. And then you're carrying that around. And I'm like, do your kids feel that energy? Does your husband feel it? She's, yeah, because I'm stressed out all the time. So I'm like, and she's, yeah, I'm angry. I'm easily annoyed. I'm easily reactive. I'm like, yeah, you're carrying all this inauthentic, not truth. Does that make sense? It's like the cover up. So we can say, oh, yeah, no, I'm honest with everyone. I tell everyone how I think. Okay. But really now there's another level of looking at the truth. What's the truth about yourself? And that's what we all need to look at, is what's the real truth, and where are we pretending or hiding or covering up or PR campaigning? I'm such a good person. I care so much, running around proving how caring and what a good person you are. But really in your heart, you're bitter, you're resentful. There's a malevolent, there's a dark spirit in the background.
Yeah.
Let's get true about that.
So the word that comes to mind is compensating, because see, this is a side effect of being lied to and deceived and destroyed by, let's say, the cruelty of a person. And so you can be brutally honest. There's some people that are so brutally honest that it feels like a punishment to be around them, because
where they're coming from isn't real truth.
And at the same time,
there's no real wisdom.
Right.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's simply doing unto others as was done unto you. And you're just nothing more than the effect of a cause. And that's really not authentic. And, but she doesn't know who to be without that. In other words, let's just say somebody has been abused and terribly treated for a whole lifetime. And then one day you wake up and it's gone. You don't know who you are without that. Some people actually, the battered wife syndrome. There are women that stay with men that batter them because they don't know who to be unless they hate that person. They don't know how to exist without having a hate object in their life. There's
the drama and the hate and it becomes a whole identity.
It becomes an id-entity.
And
it
without
dwells
that,
there.
Without that, you don't know who you are. And that's a real scary place to consider.
Yeah.
But consider that is the only true place for any of us to live from.
Well, again, it's a process. Know the truth one little bit at a time. But it goes back to the silly question, how do you eat an elephant? One spoonful at a time. You can't eat the truth all at once. It will kill you.
Really eat an elephant one spoon at a time?
Yeah, that's how you eat an elephant. One spoonful at a time. You can't eat it all at once.
No, what comes to mind is like a sink of dirty dishes. If your sink is full of dirty dishes stacked up, you've got to just take one dish at a time.
That's it.
Clean it off.
Yep.
Where am I being not real? Where am I pretending? Where am I covering up? Where am I not being truthful? One dish at a time. And then once you get to the bottom of that kitchen sink, you empty out all the dishes. Then the work is to not fill the sink with more dirty dish. Every time a dirty dish comes up,
it accumulates.
Clean it in real time.
Yeah.
Clean it. Keep your cup clear.
And by the way,
what's that biblical saying? Cleaneth the cup from the inside or something.
Then the outside is also clean. I want to say, though, on the topic of dealing with terrible people, and there are many, okay, I want to read John 8:44. This is the New Living Translation. And I'm saying you don't necessarily have to yield or have anything to do with terrible people. You just don't want to be like them. And here's what John 8:44 says. For you are the children of your father, the devil, and you love to do the evil things he does. He was a murderer from the beginning. He has always hated the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, it is consistent with his character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. There are people who are just rotten, and I'm sorry to say it, but it's true, and everybody knows it.
They're rotten until they're not.
And it's not your problem because you didn't create them. but the flip side of that is don't let them create you.
Yeah.
Don't be like what you don't want them to be to you. And if that means you have to stay away from them, then get as far away from it as you need to in order for you to survive, because this is your life. This is the only life, in my opinion, you're ever going to have. So.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend the other day who's going through a nasty divorce, and he was, you could tell, angry and resentful and bitter and toward his ex-wife. And I said, look, so you're becoming an angry, bitter, hateful, resentful person because of what someone else is doing. So you're meeting an eye with an eye. And I said, is that who you really want to be? The very thing you're blaming that your ex for, you're being and you're becoming.
Yeah.
And I said, this is your life. This is your life. Regardless of anyone else, what anyone else is doing, and however nasty they're being, who do you want to be in your life for yourself, for your kids, for people around you? Who are you going to be? Because at the end of the day, life is a full-length mirror. And right now is all we've got. So who do you want to be right now is really the question I put out to my friend. I'm putting out to everybody listening here. Who do you want to be? And get real about that, and start telling the truth about who you've been. And now it's an opportunity to repent of all that, let all that go, and start new from right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, most people
Last
cannot
thought,
help.
go for it.
Yeah. Most people cannot help but be a reflection. See, unless you're really objective, unless you learn how to be objective
and wake up,
you can't help it. And so the question is not who you want to be, in my opinion, but who you do not want to be, because it's very easy to know who you do not want to be.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be those who hurt you.
Yeah. I love that. Actually, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you get clear on who you don't want to be, that's where you discover who you could be.
Naturally.
Who you're born to be.
It comes to you.
Yeah. All right, you all. Thank you. And share the show. We grow the show through you. Please share the show in whatever ways you can. Pay it forward. Leave comments. If you're watching on YouTube, leave comments. Please like the video. If you're listening on a platform, leave a 5-star review and leave comments. But we appreciate you. Send any questions that you would like us to respond to Disrupting the Drift at BaronBaptiste.com, Disrupting the Drift at BaronBaptiste.com. Until next time, stay true, stay blessed, and keep truing up and disrupting the drift. Peace be with you all.